Hi, Mike from the Rural Montana family. Today we're going to the cozy cabin in Island Park, Idaho. This is just about 20 miles south of West Yellowstone, where the west entrance is to the Yellowstone National Park. And as you can see behind me, we got the car ready with the bench table set up on top in that cardboard box. That's what we're taking to Island Park. And then we'll set that up there and we take another one back with us. So we're just gonna swap this out and well, we'll see how efficient this Tesla will be with the box on top, and it'll be kind of interesting, I guess. Wonder how much noise it will make and how much extra juice we'll use. So let's go. Well, we're packed up and basically ready to go. Got the cardboard box on top of the Tesla Model 3 here. We'll see how efficient this will be. So we average 298 watt hours per mile over 45,800 miles. So we'll see what happens to this. I also did reset the trip meter so we can see the actual consumption for this trip. It's going to be about 150 miles to Butte, where we'll be charging, and then about another 150 or so miles to the cozy cabin. And so we'll do our first stop. Usually we only need about a 15-minute stop to fill up and make it to the cozy cabin. We'll see. This time it probably will take a little longer since we'll need a little more juice. We are ready to drive off. Got 95% and we gotta go 30 miles, pick up Grandpa, and then go about another 120 miles to the first and only charging stop. We made it to Butte. It's 151.8 miles to here. We did stop in Missoula to pick up Grandpa. We drove 75 miles an hour all the way, except through Missoula there is a 65-mile-an-hour speed limit, but other than that we were basically 75, except for the last little bit here, the last few miles in Butte. Due to construction we did go 55, and so we left, I believe it was 96%, and we are battery very low, 5% left. So 151.8, and we used 63 kilowatt hours at 416 watt hours per mile. 416 is pretty high. Let's look at the average of the total of the 45,000 miles here. That average hasn't changed, so it didn't really affect the total, but the consumption on this trip is a lot higher. And so we average usually about 300 watt hours per mile, going 82 miles per hour on the interstate. It may be a little higher. It's nice and toasty out today. It's sunny, so it's really not a temperature issue. There was not really any heat or AC going. It's literally just a box on top here that sucks up at about 120 watt hours per mile. That said, it is an uphill battle driving from Missoula to Butte, and what I mean by that, it's elevation. So it's a continuous gain of elevation from Missoula to Butte. It almost looks like you're driving flat out most of the time, but you're actually going uphill all the time, and so that obviously affects consumption. But that said, we never used as much as we did today to drive from home to Butte. Usually we use a little bit less than that. We cruise in here in the low 20s, about 20 to 25%, usually starting at about 95 to 100%. So we use quite a bit more. So that box is making this car thirsty. So it is what, 8:50 now, and we'll go for a coffee, go use the bathroom, plug the charger in. Obviously we got another 150 miles to go. We do not have the continuous elevation gain like we did now. It's a more up and down, but we still go up a little bit more. So we'll see how that goes. But I would assume it will be about the same for the second 150 miles. We'll start here between 95 and 100%, and we'll get there just right around 5% probably. So yeah, let's plug it in and see if this thing will max out in charging. I just plugged it in. So here it says Sentry mode unavailable because of the low battery. Sentry mode is not working below 20%. And then here it still shows battery very low. Let's make that go away, and here we go. We're ramping up. There we go, 125 kilowatts. And so we're maxed out at this supercharger at this point. And so we got 1 hour charge time to full. We are set to 100% there. But oh, we're going 129. I was under the impression this is actually a 120, but this may be. I was under the impression it's a 120, but it is a 150. Okay, so we're doing 132, not too terrible. Since it's a 150, I kind of hope it will ramp up a little more here. Whoa, what happened here? So it just dropped to 50 from 130, and we're only at 8%. That's not a good sign. This thing should be going here at over 100, and we just plugged in. It's 56 degrees out, so this should be 100 and above. Maybe I gotta switch stalls. Okay, I switched from 3B to 2B. There's one other car here, so they're on 1A, so I can't go to 1. So we're ramping up again, 133 kilowatt hours. Hopefully we can stay there. Well, we hope it sticks. I'm gonna go get a coffee here and use the bathroom. We got still 55 minutes left according to this. We are in West Yellowstone instead of Island Park. We've been at the Supercharger in Butte, and we met a lot of nice Tesla people and decided to let it go as long as it can and equalize the battery a little bit. We ended up with about, we ended up with 95%. That's when it stopped charging. And then we went on our way and realized that we're basically late. We were supposed to be here by 1. Because we went to the zipline park here, and so we got here about 120 straight here. We still have the box on the roof that we were supposed to drop off first and have lunch first, but we went to the zipline park first and enjoyed it. So, and I almost forgot to film here again. Now we are plugged in. We came here with 22%. We're already up to 30. We're doing pretty good here. This one's charging. We're at 131, so this one's doing good. The one in Butte, even after switching, the second one a few minutes later went down to like 70, 65, 70 kilowatt, and so it took forever to charge there because of that. So hopefully this one goes pretty quick here. We're gonna go into town. It's a short walk, get some ice cream, but we had definitely more fuel left, if you want to call it that. We had definitely more energy left in the battery. So if we look at this here, since last charge we had 348 watt hours per mile, and we only used 52 kilowatts. And so we done much better here. We used a lot less because we didn't have the elevation gain. Butte is at about 5,500, and from there up to here we're at about 6,000-ish, somewhere 6,200 maybe or so. So we didn't have as much elevation gain. There was 2 passes we had to get over, but it went up and back down kind of deal. So, and the speed was a little bit lower too. We averaged about 70 miles an hour on the highways here. So the total trip today was 302.5 miles. We used 116 kilowatt hours, and we averaged 382 watt hours per mile for this trip with the box up here. So we're about 82 miles above where we're supposed to be for our average. And we can see here it actually raised watt hour. It went from 298 to 299 watt hours per mile over the total of the 46,000 miles. So we were using quite a bit here with the box on top. Definitely you can make it from one supercharger to another, but with this box that is not aerodynamic at all, you basically can count on 150 miles, and if you go slower you may be able to stretch that to 180 or so. But going highway speeds here in Montana, which at the interstates are basically 80, we went 75, and the highways are 70 or 75. We averaged about 70 on the drive here on the second 150 mile part. With the box on top, it gets a little thirsty here, the car. Without the box it will do much better. So we'll see on the way back. On the way back we will have a flat table up there. I hope we can put it up there. Let's put it this way and take it back home, so we won't have the box around it, and we'll see how that will affect it. That may affect it even worse, or it may be better. We'll see. Also, noise wise, there was actually not much noise with this box up here. Obviously there was some noise, but there was no whistling or anything. It was actually pretty good. It didn't bother us at all. So we'll see how the table does that's not in a box on the way home. So, but now it's time for ice cream in West Yellowstone. So this is how this looks to go home. Here we got the old table. We'll see how efficient that is. And we've been charging with the regular level 1 that came with the car. Oh, we got a warning here. So we've been charging to 100% all the time to trying to help recalibrate the battery, which I'm pretty sure we accomplished because we're showing 100% now. So the last couple times it went to like 95, 96. Now we're at 100%. So the battery is equalized, and pretty much the gauge, the percentage gauge, is calibrated now. A lot of people would use miles, and the miles always show something different. So it takes a couple times of basically completely discharging and fully charging the battery to get that back to normal. Coming here, we did a total of 337.4 miles, used 125 kilowatt hours at 370 watt hours per mile. So as we went slower again, going to west and then coming from west to Island Park, we could save quite a lot. So speed is just a huge factor of how many miles you can get out of a charge. But we're still, let's bring this up. Here we came back down to 298. So we're still about 70 watt hours per mile higher with that box. So that box probably takes about 100 watt hours per mile at highway speeds. So we'll reset the trip meter here. And we'll start over on 0. And we'll see how this will go with this table up here today. $2,380 in the front, $5,100 total. $2,720 in the back. All right, we arrived in Butte, 152.3 miles. 47 kilowatt hours, 308 watt hours per mile. We're cruising really great with this thing. It is downhill basically from Island Park to here, but I thought this would be quite a bit higher. For a long time it was actually under 300, and we averaged speeds of about 70 to 75 to get here. So we got 32% left this time, so we're doing really good. Gonna charge up and we'll keep going. All right, we topped off. We're at 93% and we'll keep on going to Missoula. We made it back home, 305 miles from Island Park at the Cozy Cabin to home. We used 100 kilowatt hours total, and we only used 327 watt hours per mile. That's actually pretty good. I don't want to complain about that. I think that's quite good with having a table on top here. So we started at 100%. We are down to 17%. We also stopped in Missoula at the car wash and left the air conditioning on while washing the car. And we also dropped off Grandpa in Missoula, so we had a couple extra stops there. Let's see here. The total for over 46,456 miles now went up to 299 again. We were at 298 when we left here at home yesterday, and we're back with 299. So we definitely used more than we usually would because of those tables up there. Now let's see, since last charge, so that's since we left in Butte, we drove 152.6 miles, used 53 kilowatt hours, and we were at 345 watt hours per mile. We started out quite low, below 300 actually, while driving out of Island Park, until eventually we had to climb over a couple passes. Then we hit the interstate, and then we were driving even faster. So overall the trip went pretty smooth, nothing exciting. The roof rack worked fine, the table stayed up there just fine. The consumption going to the cabin was quite high. Having that carport box with the table up there, that was yeah, quite some wind resistance there, I guess. It is uphill to Butte and then to Island Park. We are here at about 3,000, maybe 3,200. Butte is roughly 5,500, and then Island Park is like Island Park is like 6,000 or 6,500 feet in elevation. So it was all uphill basically, and even without anything on the roof, the first stretch from home to Butte usually we use quite a bit of power to get there. The second stretch is about even. It's just kind of ups and downs. It's really not too bad. So yeah, we were quite high then, over 400, about 420-ish. So we used definitely about 100 watt hours more per mile because of the box on top. And then going back with this table, we used a little bit more, but not really much. We are at 345 now, but we also had high winds, and not tailwinds, they were side or head winds, and so we were fighting the wind for quite a bit. Also, we were going about 77, 78 on the interstate with this table, so a little bit faster, and we still did pretty darn good. So it's amazing, this table, the way it sits up there, doesn't affect the efficiency too bad. I'm sure we could have come in under 300 total without the table up there at those speeds, but then going the higher speeds as we usually would, we probably, even without the table and today's winds, we probably would have been 310 to 320 maybe even. So that table up here really did not make a huge difference. I would want to say maybe 30 watt hours per mile difference compared to about 100 watt hours per mile with the box on it. So it's kind of interesting to see that this table doesn't nearly do as much to the efficiency. I thought it would do worse being exposed and having no, well, the underside is smooth, but the upper side, that's where the legs are and everything, and so I thought this may be worse, but it's actually not too bad at all. Overall, I mean, it showed again that an electric car can do what any gas car can do. We didn't need to drive our truck just because of this table. It goes just fine on this car, and we did a 600-mile round trip, no problem. So this was really cool, and we got to stop real quick in West Yellowstone and do some zip lining, so that was super fun too. Unfortunately, we had to come right back since well, work is calling. So this was just a short video and just showing you the stats of this trip. We'll have another video coming, hopefully with the Bolt, going to Yellowstone National Park with some more scenery on that one. So in any event, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.